I turned a plain dollar store canvas into this cozy glowing window with flower box. Let me show you how. To start off, I'm grabbing an 8 by 10 inch canvas. I drew this arched window template on the paper as a guide. First, I'm tracing the outer edges of the template onto the canvas, making sure the template is centered on the canvas. After cutting out and separating the arched part of the template, I'm tracing it onto a piece of cardboard. Then we're going to go ahead and cut the shape out. I cut the two inner rectangles, leaving just the window frame. Now I'm tracing the shape of the window panes on the canvas. Using a ruler, I'm marking a narrow border around the outer edges of the window panes. Following those lines, I'm cutting out a rectangle to create the window opening. I'm tracing the window frame template onto cardboard and cutting it out with a precision knife. Then after removing the outer border from the template, I'm tracing the inner frame onto a second piece of cardboard and cutting that out as well. Finally, I'm stacking and gluing the two layers together to build a sturdy window frame, carefully aligning all the edges for a clean finish. Next, I mapped out individual stones along the arch, leaving a tiny gap between each one to mimic grout lines. To create a realistic stone effect, I'm using an egg carton. I'm cutting out each stone template, tracing the shapes onto the egg carton and carefully cutting them out. The naturally rough textured surface of the paper closely resembles the stone arches often found above traditional windows, making it the perfect material for this project. Next, I'm cutting a clear plastic sheet to fit the window frame. I'm attaching it to the back with hot glue. This creates the look of real window glass. Once that's in place, I'm gluing the window towards the center of the canvas, making sure it lines up perfectly with the opening. I want the stone arch to have a raised dimensional look, so I'm using 3 small pieces of cardboard as spacers. I'm gluing one to each side of the window and one along the top to create an even lift. Then using plenty of hot glue, I'm attaching the stone arch over the spacers. This elevates the arch from the surface and gives it a more realistic 3-dimensional appearance. Now for the fun part, I'm gluing down the individual stone pieces one by one onto the arch shape. To keep everything evenly spaced, I'm using a toothpick as a small spacer between each piece. I'm working my way along the arch, attaching each piece until the entire frame is covered, creating a cozy cottage-core inspired stone window frame. I cut a 20 by 4 cm strip of cardboard, dividing it into the following dimensions. The vertical marked lines are where we'll score and fold to shape the flower box. Using a ruler, I'm gently scoring the lines using a precision knife, making sure not to cut all the way through. Then I'm folding the pieces outward to form a rectangular box shape. Next, I'm taking a 12 by 2.5 cm strip of cardboard and gluing it in place to create the base of the box, securing the structure and giving it stability. The flower box is going to sit right under the window. To cover the exterior of the flower box, I'm using wooden stir sticks. First, I'm trimming one of the rounded ends, then placing each stick against the box to measure the exact length needed before cutting the other side. Once they're all cut to size, I'm gluing them horizontally onto the cardboard base, covering the surface to create the look of a rustic wooden flower box. In the same way, I'm gluing down the wooden pieces onto both sides of the box, leaving only 2 small 1.5 cm flaps on each side uncovered. To paint the window wall, I'm using terracotta acrylic paint and mixing in a little off-white, light yellow and a touch of peach to soften and lighten the tone. To create a subtle plaster-like texture, I'm mixing baking soda into the paint. It thickens the paint and gives the wall a beautiful textured finish. I'm also mixing in a little Mod Podge to help lock in the texture and reduce the chances of cracking. Using a flat brush, I'm starting to paint around the window arch, making sure to get into all the nooks and crannies for a clean, even finish. Then I'm switching to a sponge brush and applying the paint to the canvas using a dabbing motion. I'm loading the brush with a generous amount of paint and gently dabbing my way around the canvas to build up the texture. Don't forget to cover the sides of the canvas as well for a finished look. Now it's time to paint the window frame. I'm using this gorgeous teal shade which pairs beautifully with terracotta wall and creates a stunning contrast. After painting the window frame, I'm moving on to the flower box and painting the inside with dark brown acrylic paint. To give the wooden stir sticks a stained look, I'm diluting some dark brown paint with plenty of water and brushing it onto the wood. This creates a beautiful faux wood stain effect while still allowing the natural wood grain to show through. With a fine detailing brush, I'm deepening the stain along the seams between the craft sticks. This will define each plank and give the flower box a more realistic dimensional look. Now the terracotta paint was looking a bit too orange, so to soften the tone and create a weathered wall effect, I mixed white and a touch of brown paint with plenty of water. This creates a diluted wash that gently mutes the color and adds a naturally faded, lived-in look. For the stonework, I mixed a small amount of beige and off-white to create a cream color. Because the teal and earthy terracotta are both so rich, they needed a soft neutral to break them up and bring a nice balance. To paint the grout lines, I'm using white acrylic paint. To make a pair of curtains for the window, I'm taking a rectangular piece of white fabric, making a fold in the center and cutting it in half to get 2 equal pieces. To add the curtains behind the window, I'm just putting a dab of hot glue on the top corner of the fabric, folding it over to create a pleat and securing that fold in place with a little more hot glue. I'm working my way across the window, adding a few more pleats as I go. Pinching and gluing with equal gaps gives the curtain a consistent look all the way across the frame. Now I'm taking a piece of lace ribbon, wrapping it around the fabric to gather it to the side and then securing it to the frame. I'm adding a small dab of hot glue to the knot to secure it and make sure it doesn't come undone. I repeated the same step on the other side of the window by adding another draped curtain. Next, I'm using battery-operated LED string lights. I'm securing them to the back of the curtains with hot glue. As you go, make sure to hold the wire in place for a few seconds so the glue has time to set properly. Once the lights are secured, I'm attaching the battery pack to the back of the canvas using double-sided tape. And here is the magic part. When we turn on the lights, it shines right through the fabric. Next, we're going to make a pair of wall lights. I've cut out these shapes to use as templates. I'm tracing the triangle template onto a piece of cardboard 4 times, then cutting them out with a precision knife. After that, I'm taking a transparent plastic sheet and tracing the tapered wedge template onto it as well, again 4 times. I'm painting the small triangle pieces black. I'm also taking a few toothpicks and painting them black as well. Once everything is dry, I'm running a thin line of glue along the edges of the triangles and joining them together to form a square pyramid shape. This will form the top of the wall sconce. Now I'm gluing the transparent panels onto the square pyramid cap to complete the structure of the lamp. Make sure the top stays wider and it tapers down toward the bottom. I'm running thin lines of glue along the corners and reinforcing them with toothpicks for extra support. Once everything is set, I'll trim off any excess toothpick ends. I'm also attaching toothpick pieces to build the bottom frame of the structure. I made a second lamp to create a matching pair. Next, I cut 2 square pieces of cardboard for the bases. To make the lamp holder, I rolled a thin strip of black cardstock into a small cylinder, secured it with glue and attached it to the center of the base. Then I attached a yellow glass stone on top to mimic the appearance of a light bulb. I'm painting the bases black. Then I'm attaching a small wooden bead to the top of each pyramid cap and painting it black to match. To make the wall back plates, I'm gluing together 2 identical rectangular pieces of cardboard for each lamp. Once everything is painted and fully dry, I'm assembling the lamps by attaching the lamp bodies to the bases. Now I'm taking some thick flexible craft wire and cutting 2 small pieces. I'm bending them into U-shaped arms for the wall sconces. After measuring the required length, I'm trimming off the excess wire and securing the ends into the beads with hot glue. Make sure to hold the wire in place until the glue has fully set. To complete the sconces, I'm applying hot glue to the back of the wire arms and attaching them to the wall back plates. After marking where I wanted the wall sconces to go, I attached them to both sides of the canvas. I think the wall sconces added a beautiful touch and made the window wall art feel even more cozy and realistic. For the final touches, I'm grabbing some floral foam and cutting it to fit inside the wooden flower box. Using hot glue, I'm attaching the flower box to the canvas right under the window. Lastly, I'm taking paper flowers in beautiful purple, white, and lavender shades and arranging them inside the flower box. I'm trimming the wire stems as needed and inserting them into the foam, creating a full natural-looking floral arrangement. And that completes our cozy glowing window wall decor. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. The warm light shining through the curtains added such a beautiful cozy touch. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in my next DIY.